This is problem number 1 from assessment number 9. In this problem it says a window comprises a square with sides of length x and a semicircle with diameter x as shown in the figure to the right. If the total area of the window is 470 square inches, estimate the value of x. So they give us this figure. They want us to essentially use the area equation for this figure to calculate up what the dimension x is. So let's start by finding the area of a square. So we know the area of a square is always going to be length times width, which in our case would be x times x, which is x squared. And then let's talk about the area of a semicircle. Well, the area of a circle, so I'm going to say area of a circle, we know that to be pi r squared. But in our case, the radius of that circle is x over 2 essentially. But we could also write this in a different way. So how do we, what's the area of a circle when it comes to the diameter? Well, with the diameter, the area of the circle is just going to be pi, well, we could say this, let's write this as pi, we'll actually use the radius. The radius here is x over 2, and so we'll say the area of the circle is going to be pi. This is x over 2 squared, which gives you pi x squared, so times x squared over 4, which is pi x squared over 4. So we use the area of a circle equation, which in our case was pi r squared. We have a diameter, so we have to take the radius and say that the diameter, if we take it divided by 2, that's what the radius is. We plug the x over 2, or our radius, into the function, and we just square x over 2, we just square x over 2 and we get x squared over 4. Multiply those and we have pi x squared over 4. So the area of the circle for this one here is pi x squared over 4. But remember, we have a semicircle, we got a half circle. So because we have a half circle, the area for that is actually going to be 1/2 of the total area. So that's going to be pi x squared over 4 times 1/2, which gives you pi x squared over 8 for the area of the semicircle. So the area of the square was pretty easy to come up with. The area of the semicircle, we had to find the area of the circle first, and we know the radius is x over 2, and then we just had to take it times 1/2. Now, how do you get the area of the total window? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to add the area of the square plus the area of the semicircle. So we're going to say area of the window is equal to x squared plus pi x squared over 8. And they tell us in the problem that the area of the window is 470 inches squared. So we can now replace the area of the window with 470 equals x squared plus pi x squared all over 8. Now you'll notice that we have a quadratic here, but we don't have any middle term. There's no middle term for, there's no x term. So we just have x squared and another x squared, and typically we'd combine those together, and we can do that here. I'm going to tell you that you should probably just factor this out. That might be the easiest thing to do. So let's go ahead and factor out x squared out of each of these terms. So we end up with 470 equals x squared. And when we factor x squared out, we end up with 1 plus pi over 8 left in the parentheses. Now we can actually divide by 1 plus pi over 8 on each side. and we end up with 470 over 1 plus pi over 8 equals x squared. Now we're going to square root each side. So we'll square root the right side, square root the left side. Now typically we say plus and minus when we do this, but because we're talking about some distance, we can't get a negative distance. So we're just going to say that this is x, right? Square root of x squared. X equals the root of 470 all over 1 plus pi over 8. And then we plug that in the calculator. And we get, make sure to use your pi button when you do this. So 470 divided by 1 plus pi divided by 8. And then we want to square root that. And we get 18.37. And that's 18.37 inches. So our dimensions in this square are 18.37 inches, and the diameter of that semicircle is 18.37 inches.